In a village by the tall baobab tree, an elder's voice and whisper sets us free.
In the small, sun-kissed village of Umodike, nestled between lush hills and red earth paths, lived a woman known simply as Mama Ifunanya. Her full name was Nena, but everyone called her by her honorific. Her title, Mama of Love, because of the way she poured love into her two children like water in dry season. Nena became a widow at just 32. Her husband, Amaka, a commercial driver, had died in a road accident while returning from a night trip to Enugu. Their children, Ifunanya and Somadima, were only 7 and 5 at the time. That day changed everything. Many thought Nena would remarry. After all, she was still young, graceful and kind. But she didn't. I have already been blessed, she used to say. My joy now is to raise these two very well. Every year, on her birthday, Nena would wake up before dawn, cook a pot of beans for the children's school lunch, and iron their uniforms. She never marked her birthday, not even once. No cake, no song, no card. She would tell her children, "Celebrate me when you have become great. That is the only gift I want." Nena had dreams, big ones. She once dreamed of seeing the Zuma Rock in Abuja, visiting Badagry Beach, and even going to Ghana. But all those dreams faded quietly into the shadows of motherhood. Her passport application remained incomplete. Her traveling box was turned into a container for old textbooks and used clothes. Vacations became market trips. Spa days became clinic runs. Beach outings became school visiting days. Nena was a tailor by trade. She owned a small shop near the village square. But when the children started secondary school, that shop was no longer enough. She began waking up by 4 a.m. to wash clothes for teachers before starting her tailoring work. At night, she would sit with a kerosene lamp, hemming clothes and patching uniforms until her fingers ached. She also took on janitorial work at the village community hall. "Let them laugh," she would say, "as long as my children never lack school books or food." When WAEC fees came, she sold her only gold necklace, the one her husband gave her on their wedding night. When university acceptance came, she borrowed from a microfinance bank, promising to repay it in 6 months. She never missed a payment. Ifunanya came home crying once during her second year at the university. She had fallen in love with a boy who ghosted her after collecting her phone. Nena sat beside her all night, gently plaiting her hair, while telling her tales of a woman who turned heartbreak into strength. When Somadima failed the course and felt worthless, it was Mama who sat with him, sharing stories of how failure humbled even great warriors. She didn't just give advice, she gave peace. No matter where they were, Ifunanya and Somadima always knew they could run back to their mother. When their allowances finished, it was Mama who sent. She would say, "Take this small money just to hold body." She never waited to be asked. Even when she barely had enough, she would find a way. She once sold off her deep freezer just to send Ifunanya pocket money during her final semester. "We can buy another freezer, but your dignity is priceless," she told her daughter. Ifunanya returned home at 25 with bright eyes and a nervous smile. Mama, there's someone I want you to meet. His name was Chijoke, a soft-spoken man who walked in the city. Nena studied him silently during the visit, as mothers often do. She watched how he pulled out a chair for her daughter, how he spoke with calm humility, and how his eyes lit up when he talked about Ifunanya. By the time the kola nut was broken and wine shared, Nena's heart had settled. She was overjoyed. That night she danced alone in her room, quietly, with tears. Her daughter, the only girl who once carried firewood on her head, was getting married. Preparations began immediately. A week later, Ifunanya returned with the wedding list. Mama, this is the estimated budget, she said, placing the printed paper on the old plastic table in their living room. Nena picked it up and stared. 10 million naira. The number sat there like a mountain. Nena blinked again. Included were costs for venue, decoration, bridal trained clothes, traditional gifts, photography, catering, security, and a honeymoon trip to Zanzibar. She smiled tightly. This is plenty, you know. This is plenty, my daughter. I know, Mama, but it is what Chijoke's family expects. They said they will also contribute, but we will still need to raise at least 15 million naira more. Nena nodded slowly. She didn't complain, she didn't frown. I will handle it, she said. Nena began to search for money like a farmer sowing seeds in dry land. She sold her tailoring shop. She reached out to people she hadn't spoken to in years. Old school friends, church members, even relatives who once mocked her. She joined a new thrift group and used her turn to secure a 2 million naira advance. She used her land, the same land she once planned to build her retirement home, as collateral for a bank loan. She begged no one, she cried to no one. Just settle down in peace, my daughter, she whispered to the stars one night. That's all I ask. As the wedding date drew closer, Umudike began to stir like a disturbed anthill. Gossip swirled through the air like harmattan dust. People whispered about how Mama Ifunanya was planning a big city wedding in the village. Some wondered aloud how she got the money. I heard she borrowed from the bank, some said. Others said no. I heard she sold her land in a culture. She should remember there's life after wedding, Nena heard the whispers, but she ignored them all. What mattered to her was the smile on her daughter's face. She had lived her whole life battling storms. What was one more? She returned late most nights, weary from meetings with caterers, decorators, and fabric sellers. She had never organized an event of such scale before, but she handled every detail like a seasoned player. She learned quickly to bargain like a Lagos market woman. If a vendor charged 500,000, she found another one for 300,000 and convinced them to deliver better. In the thick of wedding preparations, something subtle began to shift. Ifunanya, her sweet, bubbly daughter, grew distant. She began to speak more in English than their native tongue. Mama, please, can you not use that brown lace for the family outfit? It's outdated. Let's go with the champagne gold. It photographs better. She was always on the phone discussing payment with makeup artists, hairstylists, or bridal train members. There were days she forgot to eat the food her mother cooked. Nights she stayed up late scrolling through Instagram wedding pages. Once, when Nena suggested using the community hall to cut costs, Ifunanya sighed loudly. Mama, that place is dusty. How can we bring people from the city to a place like that? Let's not embarrass ourselves. Nena smiled gently and said nothing, but deep inside, something cold touched her heart. So Madima, now 23, watched everything with a heavy heart. He was serving in Plateau State for his NYSC and had returned temporarily to assist with the wedding. He adored his sister, but had begun to notice how the tone of her voice changed when speaking to their mother. Once he overheard her snapping at Mama over a mix-up with the souvenir vendors. That is not what I told you. Why do you keep forgetting things? This is why I prefer handling this myself. Mama apologized quietly, but the pain in her eyes stayed long after. Later that evening, Somadina sat beside his mother as she was ironing her shabby clothes in the heat of the parlor. Mama, don't let this wedding finish you. She chuckled softly. Let it finish me, my son. As long as she starts her new life well. After all, I have lived my own. But you deserve more, he whispered. She looked at him, eyes filled with quiet sorrow and joy. I have you too, my dear. That is already more than many mothers have. As the wedding drew nearer, the bills kept rising. Another 800,000 naira was needed for a second bridal dress. 250,000 naira was demanded by the photographer for a pre-wedding shoot. 500,000 naira was added for last-minute hall decoration upgrade. Mama Ifunanya found herself borrowing again, this time from a local cooperative she had left years ago. Her hands trembled when signing the loan agreement. Her debt had now crossed 18 million naira. The nights became longer. Her back ached. She often forgot to eat. Her voice grew hoarse from constant calls. Yet, she smiled through it all. To her, this was the final stretch of the marathon. The night before the wedding, the compound was a hive of activity. Cousins from far and near had arrived. Women pounded yam, while others sang wedding songs. The rented chairs and canopies were being arranged. Drummers had started testing their talking drums. Mama Ifunanya sat under the mango tree, outside the kitchen, shelling groundnuts for the early morning stew. Her wrapper was faded, her hair was covered in an old scarf, but her eyes glistened with anticipation. She had sewn her own outfit, a purple and gold lace gown with matching headgear. It wasn't flashy, but it was dignified. Ifunanya walked past her that evening with her bridesmaid, laughing loudly in their matching satin robes. She didn't stop to sit or chat. Good night, Mama, she said casually, still scrolling through her phone. Nena smiled and whispered, Good night, my star. Then she picked up the groundnuts, stood up slowly and returned to the kitchen. The day after Nena had completed all the paperwork to secure the final 15 million naira loan, she sat under the shade of the breadfruit tree in her compound. Her heart was heavy, but she told herself it was the final sacrifice. After all, what was one more burden for a child's happiness? She was just about to confirm the transfer when her old Nokia phone buzzed. It was a message from her daughter, Ifunanya. Mom, it's best you don't attend the wedding, cause my mother-in-law is very particular about the guest list. You can watch us online. Hope you understand. The words hung in the air like smoke from a bad fire. No dear mom, just mom. No thank you for all you have done. No voice notes, no phone call, just a cold message, lifeless and sharp, like a blade straight through her heart. Mama Nina didn't move. For minutes she sat frozen, the phone still in her hand. She was wondering, My mother-in-law is very particular about the guest list. Her head began to spin slowly. Her vision blurred. She felt as though the ground had opened beneath her feet. This wasn't the daughter she had raised. This wasn't her Ifunanya. With trembling fingers, she slowly typed back, "I understand." Then, without a second thought, she stood up, walked back inside, and cancelled the loan transfer. The next day came in quietly. The air was thick with heat, but the wind carried whispers of excitement across Homodiki. Decorations were in place, guests were beginning to arrive, and the hall was buzzing. But inside the bride's chamber, Ifunanya was pacing. Her brows were furrowed, and her voice sharp. "Why hasn't Mama sent the money?" she said, staring at her phone. "She said it would be done yesterday." The decorators were demanding balance. The caterer refused to release food. The photographer was threatening to walk out. Even the MC was asking for confirmation of his fee. Then her phone rang. It was Mama. Ifunanya picked it up quickly. "Mama, what's happening? Why haven't you sent the money? The people are waiting." There was a pause. A quiet pause filled with so much that even silence had weight. Then came Mama's calm voice. "I cancelled it. You said I shouldn't attend, that I should watch online. So I stayed back to watch online." There was stunned silence on the other end. Then Ifunanya's voice exploded. "Mama, are you being petty right now? You want to ruin my day? After everything?" But Nina was calm. "I gave everything, Wham. I gave years. I gave my life. I would have given this last too. But you said there's no space for me there." That message, it was enough. The mother-in-law stormed into the bride's room moments later. She had heard everything. "You see now, this is why I said your people are not serious. How can your mother leave you stranded on your wedding day? After everything we planned? Selfish woman, she doesn't love you." Ifunanya, overwhelmed and shaken, tried to explain, but her voice cracked under pressure. Guests were beginning to murmur. The hall management insisted. No full payment, no access. Vendors began removing decorations. The food never arrived. Chairs were taken away. The band packed up. People were standing outside, finding themselves in confusion. Some left quietly. Others stayed behind out of pity. Eventually, they were forced to move the event to the back of Chijoke's family compound. A few plastic chairs were set up. The sun was unforgiving. The makeup was already melting off Ifunanya's face. They said vows there in front of a phone camera to a crowd that had mostly gone home. There was no glee, no applause, no laughter, just a cloud of shame floating over what should have been a woman's proudest day. Mama Ifunanya stayed in her room the entire time. The window open, breeze blowing the curtain. She didn't cry. She didn't curse. She just sat, listening to the village gossip float in like a funeral song. She whispered to herself, "I was ready to give everything, but love should not come with such rejection." The days after the wedding were filled with quiet shame. Photos from the improvised background ceremony never made it to social media. The grand dream of a perfect wedding was reduced to a few blurry pictures. A hot bride and awkward smiles from tired guests. Ifunanya and Chijoke left for the city. The glamour faded fast. Deaths remained, so did whispers and regrets. Her mother-in-law grew cold, repeating the same bitter words anytime there was a disagreement. "Your mother showed your true roots that day." Ifunanya never told anyone the full story. How she had rejected the very hand that had fed and raised her. And how that single message shattered a bond it had taken 25 years to build. Back in Umudike, Mama Ifunanya resumed her quiet routine. She reopened her small tailoring shop, this time under a new mango tree. with only a sewing machine and 2 stools. She hummed as she walked, greeting passers-by with a smile that had both warmth and wounds. People whispered in admiration and shame. They had seen what happened. Some came to apologize. Others just brought gifts of palm oil or firewood in silent understanding. She never gossiped, never spoke ill of her daughter. When asked, she would simply say, "She's learning just like I did." Her son, Somadina, still serving in Plateau, called her every day. He reminded her that her sacrifices were not in vain. "You raised the king and queen, Mama," he said once. "Even if the queen forgets, the king never will." Moral of the story: parents are not perfect, but their love is pure. No one sacrifices more for children than a mother who raises them alone. Respect her place, always. Gratitude is greater than gold. Gifts and celebrations are empty if gratitude is absent. Honor should be the true currency of love. And rejection can silence even the loudest love. Words are powerful. A cold message can break the strongest bond. Choose your words with wisdom, especially to those who gave up everything for you. Pride before humility is always costly. When pride leads, shame often follows. Humility could have saved the day. If you have ever been touched by the hand of a mother, whether your own or a mother figure, take a moment to honor her today. Tell her you love her. Show her respect while she's alive. Because one message, one action, one decision can turn joy into regret. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more heartfelt African stories that reflect the strength, struggle, and beauty of our people.
Jubosmiles where the stories bloom.